What's up, guys? Doug Polk here, and welcome back for another episode of Postle Hands. And today we're going to be taking a look at a pretty sick cooler that resulted in a massively underwhelming pot. In our hand today, Mike is going to hit the nut flush up against a straight flush. Will Mike lose big, or will he find a way to get away?
When it goes bet call in front of you, you're torching over calling in that spot.
To tell you you're not ahead there. What is up, Bam Yang in the chat? How you doing? Which chat over there? That's a cool name. Where are you from? Let us know.
Thanks, Dirty Bird. I try to bring it strong for you guys. I'm glad you appreciate it, my friend.
Our hand begins at 2-5 with a $10 straddle, and Harlan decides to open it up with a 10-9 offsuit. Now, this is a hand that's a little bit too loose to raise here from under the gun +2. You definitely want to look to fold this pre-flop. The action folds to Faraz on the button, who looks down at 10-8 suited. Now, this is a spot where you can certainly look to play your 10-8 suited. You've got position, you could 3-bet and put some pressure on. You could also call and use your position post-flop. There's a lot of different ways you can go this one, and I do like his decision to go ahead and call. Over to Postle in the small blind, he looks down at ace-queen suited. And in this spot, any absolute crusher knows that they're so far ahead of their opponent's range that they all make the same decision. Call. Anyway, he does make the call, everyone else gets out of the way, and let's take a flop.
6-high flush against a rock.
Oh my God, Joe, man, we are on the action boards tonight, my friends.
What is happening?
Wow.
We didn't edit any of these hands.
Wow,
This is crazy.
look at that flop for us. He flops the stones. He flops the absolute nuts.
The flop comes Jack 9-7 with 2 diamonds. Once again, a big board here on Poker Hands. We've got the nut straight with a flush redraw here for Faraz. We also have the nut flush draw for Postle, and we've got middle pair with a gutter ball for Harlan. Postle checks. Now Harlan has a chance to see bet if he wants to do so, and he decides to slow it down in pot control. And I like this decision with middle pair and a gutter. You certainly want to check and look to play some later streets. Now over to the button with the nuts and a flush draw. You absolutely have got to bet and build this pot. You have an amazing hand. That's the golden rule here on Poker Hands. When you have good hands, you should mainly bet and raise. But he decides to play it slow. And let's take a turn.
And the redraw to the diamonds, and it's not any good.
Whoa. What, can we hit this? No, not quite. Not quite.
No.
But
This is not a jackpot hand. But
seriously, this is ridiculous.
that is a ridiculous. Now, the
Postle hits a nut flush.
Postle, but the board is paired. So Postle's not going to go broke here.
Okay.
You know, he's going to lose a big one, but he's not going to go broke. And I just want to point out, this is another time tonight we are in the Postle zone. There's the signpost up ahead. Postle's got the nut freaking flush, and he's up against 8-10 of diamonds.
Unfortunately for Postle, though, he's probably going to lose on this hand. I mean, how does he get away from here? Besides the board pairing.
No, he will though. Postle, he will. He can make that fold because obviously, like, we're going to either see a raise now or on the river. So luckily for Postle, this pot was not bloated. There could have been so much action on the flop. There wasn't.
The turn comes to 7, and now the action's on Mike. I think in this situation, Mike mainly wants to be betting his hand. The board has paired, so his hand's a little less strong than it would be on a brick turn where it would just be the nuts. But in this situation now, there are a few boats. However, it's very, very, very unlikely either player has a boat. Let's think about this. If either of the players had a set on the flop, they're going to be betting the flop themselves so that they can get some equity from draws like flush draws and straight draws. They're not going to check and let this board roll off in bad ways. There's plenty of value to be had there. So if neither player has a set in the flop very often, what other 2 pairs can they really have? I mean, if they had 2 pair, they'd probably bet it as well. But a lot of times hands like Jack 7 or 9-7 or Jack 9, especially the offsuit varieties of those hands, they're not even going to look to play pre-flop. So there are almost no boats in his opponent's range. So this is a spot when you have the nut flush, you could definitely look to check raise or just bet for value. Mike decides to go ahead and bet 125 for value. Definitely a reasonable play for Mike. And now the action's on Harlan. This is a little bit of a tough spot, middle pair and a gutter, but no flush draw. So especially 3-way, I don't mind letting it go. And a heads up pot, I'd look to float here and play some later streets. But given that you do not close the action, I don't mind getting out of the way. To Faraz on the button, he's got the stone goods, the straight flush. And what's great about this is that he doesn't block any of the other strong hands like the nut flush or boats. There are so many hands that Postle can have that will look to call raise. In this situation, you absolutely have to be raising. You have to build this pot, make it $500 or $600 to go, and let's try and win as much money as we can on the river. This is a great spot to bluff. However, he does decide to slow play once again, make the call, and let's take a river.
And now it just goes bet call, and Faraz completely lets Mike off the hook. You know, and I don't blame Faraz. He thinks he has all the good cards, except for he doesn't. The board is paired. Mike can have a lot of hands. He doesn't have to have ace-high diamonds, but he can have a lot of hands that would call. But Faraz, you know, he just chooses to just call. So now, you know, we are in the Postle zone, but I will point out that Mike has played this so slowly. Look, he open checks river. He knows. He's like six.
Tiny bet, quarter pot bet about.
And Mike doesn't even want to call.
No.
Look at this. So Mike gets let off the... Oh, wait a minute. Is he going to raise? Oh, he is going to go for a thin min value raise. Or maybe not.
I mean, Faraz could shove here easily. It's about a pot size shove. So, I mean, it almost looks like a bluff. This bet sizing from Faraz could induce a raise.
Is that a min click? No, he just calls.
The river comes in offsuit 8, and can I just say how unbelievably nauseating the commentary is during these hands? It's like every hand with Postle is, he can get away. He's not going to go broke. The board's paired. This could have been worse for Postle. Can he get away? I think he can get away. He knows. Oh, he doesn't even want to bet the river. Oh, that's a surprise. He doesn't even want to bet the river. Oh, he barely wants to call this. Yeah, I wonder why that is. In fact, I find a lot of the commentary to be highly suspicious. Now, there are people like Justin Caritas that I think are extremely likely to be involved in some capacity. Then we've got this meme guy who awkwardly looks to the side and says weird comments whenever Postle has to make a decision. I think there's certainly some chance that these guys are involved, especially Justin. There are also some people that, you know, they're just not involved.
Hey, chat. How are you? Bot lady, thanks for tuning in tonight.
There could be many other people that are in between. Now, I think it's unlikely that a ton of people are involved, because if that was the case, there probably would have been a leak at some point. But when there's a lot of stuff going on that's fishy, and there are people talking in this way about Postle in the hand, they're always concerned about, will he make the right lay down, or will he make the fold when he's behind? And how is he going to find a call when he's ahead? You know, when you see people, you know, just constantly trying to reason out why Postle's eventual right decision is going to be the correct one, then you should be a little suspicious, because they don't do the same thing for other players. This is specifically a Postle-based phenomenon. The river's an 8. Now, once again, this should not be a spot where Postle's afraid of a boat. Now, 7-8 suited is possible. There is one combination of that, and pocket 8s is certainly a hand that could be in play now as well. There are a few combos of that as well. So there are a few hands we lose to down the river that we wouldn't have lost to before, but all in all, we're going to be ahead of top pair, ahead of trips, ahead of straights. There are going to be a lot of hands that made a straight in the river. Hands like pocket 10s, hands like jack 10 suited, hands like 10-9. There are a lot of other hands that could have made a straight here that you can get value from. So I think in this situation, Postle can either bet or still go for the check raise. I don't mind firing the turn myself, or firing the river myself rather, but you're definitely going to need to look to get some money in. However, Postle checks, and his opponent bets a laughably small size in the river. Now it's time for a clear raise from Postle. He's got the nut flush. It looks like his opponent has like a straight, maybe. It looks like his opponent has something very weak. This is a no-brainer raise for anyone crushing the games, which is why Postle doesn't do that. In fact, Postle is a god, and he looks deep into his opponent's soul, and he realizes that he doesn't have a prayer's chance.
Mike has played this so slowly. Look, he open checks river. He knows. He's like six.
Tiny bet, quarter pot bet about.
And Mike doesn't even want to call.
No.
Look at this.
Yeah, it's like he knows. He knows. No, it's like he knows, guys. It really is. Like, he played so well. It's like he knows in the Postle zone. God damn, this is tilting. Notice also how he doesn't even consider the fact that Mike can raise, and can raise for value here, which is a very reasonable and standard play for people to make. And when he starts to reach for chips, he acts surprised. So why are you surprised this is a thing? And then doesn't even try to explain the consideration for wanting to raise. No, it's back to the other side. It's back to the only call. You know, it's the framing of the discussion that, you know, it's definitely possible that they just got so used to him winning that it warped their mind and perception, in which case, you know, that's just the way that I guess it happened. But at the same time, the entire framing of the discussion is very suspicious, and I think we should take a very close look at people surrounding this incident. Thanks for joining me here today for Postle Hands, and I'll see you guys back again soon. If you've been enjoying the content, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. See you guys then.